Only a few hours ago, I uploaded the best team video for LR Birdku, so if you haven't seen that, there it is. However, for this video, we're focusing solely on LR STR Cooler and the best possible teams and rotations you can utilize with him. Now, as many of you know, it is my job to maintain the Bower, shout out to Syriax, and balance of the Dokkan universe. So, if you pulled Goku or Cooler in your first multi, you got caught lacking today. And you gotta subscribe to the channel. It is what it is. That is the punishment that you must pay. And that is, of course, the subscriber challenge for the day. However, if you didn't pull Cooler or you didn't pull Goku in the first multi, you can skip today's subscriber challenge. But just know, I will be after your forehead in the next one. Stay tuned for that. Let's hop straight into this video. So I have this, of course, divided up into main rotations. And then the units you pretty much want to run in the third slot or floating off of your rotations. So I have a few main rotations I want to go through first, right? One, I think is pretty obvious. It's going to be Cooler and the LR Full Power Frieza. These two together share 5 links, and they have a lot of attack together. Okay, Cooler already by himself is a massive juggernaut, but with Frieza, big bad boss, is attack and defense plus 25%, an extra 20% attack from here, an extra 20% from Fierce Battle. That's what, 65% attack so far, an extra 15% on super attack, and then an extra key and enemy defensive debuffing, and then 25% right there for in terms of the defense, right? So these links are not just measly links that they're sharing. It's going to make both of them look very, very strong and very, very oppressive. These two work great together. If you have Full Power Frieza, I recommend running this right here as a main rotation. And yes, we're going to be using Cooler as the leader for this team. Okay, I forgot to mention that. Cooler, you definitely want to use this man as the leader for any team you're going to run with the bad boy Cooler here. All right, anyways, then we have this second rotation that you can run. Now, I know this Frieza isn't the greatest unit of all time. The benefit with him, actually, the benefit with this Frieza is once you get into his golden state, every single time he's entering the turn, the 15% HP recovery could definitely come in clutch. He's not the hardest hitting unit of all time. If you're facing superclass enemies, he's going to do a little bit more damage. He does raise defense, which is definitely, I think, good. But I mean, he could have been a little bit better, unfortunately. Now, if you get really lucky with like additionals and stuff, then like in his previous forms, then his defense could look good, because I know he's stacking before he gets into his golden form. And I mean, honestly, one also like another L with this rotation possibly is the fact that if you have Cooler in the first slot, the enemy may not live long enough to have this Frieza attack. But again, it's one of those things where they share a lot of really good links. Frieza is, of course, on the 200% lead, so this rotation can easily work, and Cooler could look very, very powerful on this rotation. It just really depends on what enemy you're facing. Now, I mentioned these two first because, you know, we have different typings in terms of the rotations. You could also run these two rotations right here. The only issue I have with these specifically is that they're both STR heavy, so if you're facing a really strong future red zone physical boss, things can get very ugly very, very, very fast. So I kind of wouldn't say, you know, use these rotations right here, but Cooler, as you guys know, is supporting, and when he transforms, he looks pretty similar to LR Cooler, not just necessarily the same, but these two together are disgusting, especially when STR Cooler transforms. And then LR Full Power, not LR Full Power, sorry, LR Pod Frieza here is still a really strong free-to-play easy A unit. So these are the main rotations I would say you can definitely get away with. Now, I'll mention some other rotations in a second, but let's just say or assume that you run these rotations, which again is definitely possible, because remember, you're going to have your Cooler and you're going to have the friend Cooler as well. So you can actually walk away, or not walk away, but perform or have this rotation, and then your other main rotation could be this one or this one or this one, and vice versa, however you really want to, you know, go ahead and mix it. But all 4 of these rotations do work well. I just kind of don't necessarily suggest doing this. Now, in terms of the floating units, there is quite a few options here. So the first one is going to be LR AGL Golden Frieza if you play on JP, or if you know you want him on global, this is a team you can run him on. He now has his 200% leader skill. And the really good thing about Frieza is his OP damage reduction. So, I mean, it's one of those things that it's like, it cools down not a cools down. He loses damage reduction as the fight goes on, so it's like someone you really want to prioritize and you know, in the first slot. And STR Cooler is a unit that needs to build up, so him being in the second slot isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially in the beginning you know, phases of fights where rotations might be really bad and you're still trying to set up your teams and rotations, all that type of stuff. So it's like, if you have LR full power LR Golden Frieza, he is an amazing slot 1 option, literally to help Cooler build up as the rotations go by. Cooler's getting stronger, his defensive damage reduction is getting weaker, and now Cooler can show what he's all about. So I feel like this guy could be a nice option. It's just they only share 4 links together, so that's basically why I put him in that third slot, if you will, because in the third slot at least is going to be a really strong defensive unit, a very good defensive option, and we know how important defensive capabilities are for the floating or third slot unit. So this, you know, Frieza can definitely get the job done, again, if you're on JP or if you want him on the global. Then we have LR with that. I mean, honestly, why not? LR Garlic, Super Garlic Jr. Now, the really big thing with this guy is his ability to support all extreme class allies with 3 key and 40% to attack and defense. So no matter what rotation you're running, if it's this one or this one or this one or this one, when Garlic Jr. appears, he's going to be giving 3 key and 40% to the rotation, and you can only imagine how powerful that's going to be. And yes, Cooler is not Cooler, Super Garlic Jr. LR Super Garlic Jr. is indeed on the category, so he's getting the full 200% buff. As you guys can see, he has his Terrifying Conquerors 170 from Cooler, and then Transformation Boost extra 30% from Cooler as well. Now, this guy could low-key, you know, cause some issues in terms of his defense, because he does have 160% here, 60% when attacking, which is definitely good, right? It's also pretty significant that it mentions while attacking, because I mean it's also super class enemies. But let's just assume you're, you know, facing a super class enemy. Sometimes you need to super attack with an enemy, you need to super attack an enemy, to get an extra stat buff. But Garlic Jr. here, all he needs to do is attack, so it doesn't matter how much key you give him. So let's just say you have a really bad key field, he's in the third slot, and you can't get him a super attack. It's okay, because as long as he attacks first, he's still going to get his 60% there, which I think makes him a pretty good option in the third slot, especially since you don't necessarily need to give him, you know, the key spheres there. Not the keys, yeah. I mean, you don't necessarily need to give him the super attack, is what I'm trying to say. He doesn't raise defense from a super attack, which is kind of but I mean, over time and long events, he could start doing some pretty decent damage as well, and also recovers HP. So if you have this guy floating off, as well as maybe this rotation, the HP recovery per turn could be looking pretty good. Keep that in mind. Then we have Turles as an option. Now, Turbulus, after his EZ, I feel like is an absolute must-run on this team, whether main rotation, I'll show you that later, or as a floating unit. When you're facing a super class enemy, Cooler is giving all allies 3 key and 40% to attack and defense again. So you're basically having 2 units floating in and out of all of these rotations, giving 3 key and 40% to attack and defense. And this guy, once he's completely built up, link level 10, and after there's a few super attacks, his defense is going to look pretty good. So keep that in mind. And also, you have the ability to transform here. This low-key gives your team a few turns of immunity. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't get tacked, you can't get damaged when this I keep calling him Cooler, when this Turles does his thing. So you have a few turns to survive here. He's going to be stacking defense as well, the HP recovery. Like, this is all of these things is a reason why. Actually, sorry, it's not true. You do not get immunity. For a second, I thought that he had the rage mechanic, like LR Rose or some other units. That's not true. He does not have that. So disregard that. But still, even if he doesn't have that, the fact that he can stack defense in this form, stack attack in this form, 200% to defense, an extra 100% when facing super class enemies, all allies 3 key, 20% HP regen. He's still an amazing option to have on the team for his utility, especially in that third slot where he's stacking defense and has possibly 300% defense if, of course, you are facing a super class enemy. So let me know what you think about that. Another option is going to be this free-to-play Cooler. This free-to-play Cooler is not the greatest unit right now. I can definitely admit that. However, after his EZA, I could see him being yet another 3-key 40% lead. Now, I said the same thing last year with Tech Zarba and Dodoria, and they did not buff that, unfortunately, which is kind of mid. But I feel like I can give Cooler, again, listen, that was last year, right? Like, they can definitely do it. Give him why not give Terrifying Conquerors 3-key and 40% to attack and defense? They can bump this up to 120%, bump them up maybe 60%-ish. Maybe give him chance to perform additional so we can build this up a little bit faster. Defensive stacking. Like, he can be, in long events, a solid floating unit, right? Where he's stacking his defense, building up his defense per super attack he performs. And then, of course, the supporting ability from him as well. So just keep a lookout for this man, because he could be looking really good after his EZA. And, yeah, so we have this unit, and this unit possibly giving 3-key 40% to attack and defense on all your... If that's the case, and you run these 3 units after having these rotations, every single turn, you're going to get a 3-key 40% buff. Think about that. No matter what turn you have, you're getting supported by 3-key and 40% to attack and defense. So you're not going to be struggling whatsoever. Keep that in mind. Another option you can possibly run is Tech Genembo. Tech Genembo, you know, his guarding is what makes him really OP in that 3rd slot. So you can still get that done. And of course, he has the option to support. The only issue with his support is that you need 4 type key spheres, which is really annoying. So personally, you can either go for that support ability, or you can try and focus on at least getting 2 rainbow key spheres. If you can do that, he does get 30% damage reduction. If you like, when you stack that on top of the guarding, and stack the guarding on top of the 120% defense, I mean, he's not really taking that much damage unless you're facing type disadvantage in a really difficult event. So this Genembo, I still think defensively is a good option in the 3rd slot. Now, 2 other rotations you can run on this team, not including Cooler, could possibly be the Turles Rotation. This rotation right here gets pretty disgusting pretty fast, especially when you could look at these links. 25% attack, 15% defense. When we add big bad bosses, that gets to 50% attack and 40% defense. But we're not done. We have Thirst or Conquest, which gives us 65% attack and 60% to defense. And that is just 3 links. We have extra attack from Brutal Beatdown, extra attack from Fierce Battle, and an extra key attack and defense from Prepared for Battle. So all of those 6 links, this Turles is going bananas. This Turles is doing this. This is a very strong OP dumb stupid rotation that you can easily pull off if you have the units, of course. And then we do have the Genembo Rotation. So basically, if you do this, you wouldn't really have Genembo floating. You'd need like one of these other units I showed you here. But once you transform with that Genembo, which you probably shouldn't do, because again, Genembo in this state isn't as strong defensively as this Genembo. But regardless, these guys, how much links do they actually share? Not even transformed. He's not even on here. That's actually crazy. I mean, it shouldn't be that bad. Because let me see here. How much do the links change actually? Hold on. 3 links. I mean, big bad bosses is definitely the most important thing here, right? They're just not sharing any key, and that's understandable because Tech Genembo doesn't necessarily have any key links, which is one of his massive weaknesses. So you're gonna have to rely on building up physical Genembo fairly quick here, right? So that is just, it's one of those things where it is what it is. This isn't the strongest rotation, but if this is what you have, then this is what you have. This is definitely something that could work here. Another floating unit you can possibly run if you're running double Friezas. So for example, let's say you have one Frieza on rotation, on main rotation, and then maybe another Frieza on main rotation. I think you can easily get away with running the Dildo Frieza here because he does support, what was the name of the category? Dude, what is it called? Sworn Enemies, yeah. And every Frieza has the Sworn Enemies category. The only issue is that it's just that Cooler does not have this. So Cooler wouldn't be getting supported, but every Frieza would be. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. You have a few rotations to pick from here, quite a few floating. If you want like my actual ultimate pick, I think for a team, I would say this rotation for sure. You want to have this rotation for sure. This rotation is cool, but like this Freeze is not that, he's just not that strong, man. You know what I can see? I can see this rotation for one. This rotation 1. Maybe this rotation 2, right? Like really, really strong so far. Yeah, this rotation 1, this rotation 2. Garlic Jr. floating and supporting. I mean, you wouldn't exist because you're on main rotation. If he gets his ZZA, he can be floating and supporting. Or Genembo. Or maybe, honestly, you can have LR Genembo. Because LR Genembo is also guarding, right? So it's like, he's definitely an option. The only issue is that he needs to build up first, especially for that key. But he's going to be offering things like the Big Bad Bosses link, even in that 3rd slot. So he'll have it active as well. So it's like, and the nullification could, honestly, yeah, Genembo could be a decent character. He's not necessarily, you know, supporting in the sense of giving key attack and defense, but he could be supporting the team in the sense of guarding those attacks in the last slot, nullifying in the last slot, and he can build up in the last slot as well with the 2 key and 22% attack and defense. So he is a very strong 3rd slot option. You know what my team would be actually? Yeah, I like this. So I would pick 1, 2, then Garlic Jr. Let's put him over here. Garlic Jr. LR Genembo. Yeah. I'll do 1, 2, these 2. Yep. And then my extra cooler friend. So you'd have 1 unit, 2 units, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the friend cooler. That is probably the team that I would personally run. I think it could work very, very well. It just, again, depends on what you have, what you don't have, and how good this man ends up being after his DZS. So, again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you decide to do. Let me know what team you're looking for. What do you guys do? English, please. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. I will see you in the next one. Take care, and peace.